Good morning. It is June 30th. Marvelous Monday, the last day of June, and then we start into July. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to introduce the book of the month for July. Don't miss that. I want to talk about something today that sort of goes along with what I talked about yesterday. I talked a little bit about goals and talked about the 1% rule, 15 minutes a day to review how our day went, review goals that we've made, set goals, and sort of track what we're doing. There was an experience that occurred back in the 1920s, and we've heard of it many times. I think those of you in business have heard of the Hawthorne Effect. That's Hawthorne Effect. You can research it. It was an electric company back east, and it was the employees in this company. And what they did is they started to see if environmental stimulus could affect the workers and help them to do better, saw if they did worse, better, and so forth. So they first started to increase the lights in the warehouses where these people worked, and keeping track of everything. It was pretty amazing because efficiency, effectiveness increased. And then later they increased the lights a little bit more. And over the course of a few years, they did all kinds of things with these employees. And they saw that things improved and got better. Then they decided to turn the lights down. And guess what? Effectiveness improved as well. Sort of confused them all because they're thinking that the lights increasing the brightness affected the workers and made it better, but when they turned them down, they got better as well. They finally came to the conclusion that by tracking and by monitoring and keeping track of statistics, that was the key to making people better. So now we hear a lot in Harvard Business School and hear about the Hawthorne Effect, and that is that we have to track what we're doing if we want to have significant improvement. And that's why it's so important that we have goals and that we're tracking those things and that we use that 1% every day to follow up with what we're doing. Back in the 70s, it was Harvard Business School that they followed this group all the way up for 30 years, and they found that only 3% of the graduates that year set goals, specific measurable goals, and they had a plan and an action, and they tracked these things. And they got 30 years down the road, and they found that 3% far outproduced the other 97%. So there is something very effective to this, and I hope that we all understand that this is a very powerful principle. The Hawthorne Effect teaches us that we need to track these things, that by merely tracking and keeping track of these things and keeping statistics, then we will see great improvement. So make sure you have the goals in your life, make sure you know what you want, and then start to track it. It's not that difficult. The one thing about tracking is it tells us where we're at. And so by knowing where we're at, we know what things we can do to increase effectiveness and improve where we're at. Have a marvelous Monday. Get excited. It's a great book I'm introducing for July. We will talk to you again in the morning. Thanks.
You gotta live and learn. You gotta crash and burn. You gotta make some stances.